Wani Keju. This is Rachel Butler. We are here with Christina Mallory-parts.
Nailed it.
Okay, first question. What is your role regarding 23rd Street, and do you enjoy it?
I enjoy it very much. I'm the executive director, so that means that anything that has Uptown attached to it, I do it. So I oversee our marketing, I oversee our physical space, I oversee our economic development, our beautification, our events, our programs, our fundraising, our board, everything that has to do with Uptown 23rd as a district association, I do it.
So everything.
Everything.
Excellent. Okay, another question. What is one thing you would do to improve 23rd Street?
I would love to improve its walkability. Right now we really struggle with sidewalks that are full of poles and full of signs, and if you were a person in a wheelchair or you were clumsy like myself, it's really difficult to walk down the street without having to maneuver around poles and other permanent structures that have been placed in the middle of the sidewalk. That's super basic, but it would be really nice to have ADA accessible intersections and have striped crosswalks and something at the most basic level, making it very maneuverable for our pedestrians, all of our pedestrians. So that's my number one thing that I would fix.
Okay, so if you wanted to get it done, who would you go to?
The city of Oklahoma City. And it costs a lot of money. So an intersection to have all new crosswalks, all new ADA accessible ramps can cost up to $750,000 to to an entire $1 million just for one intersection.
Yeah, that's a lot.
We have a lot of intersections along the district, right? So it's one of those things you really hope that a new development comes in, like at 23rd and Walker when the Rise came in and the Tower Theater is about to do some improvements. You really hope that those developers really see that importance of updating those corners and those crosswalks and invest their own private resources into that. But other than that, it just takes a lot of time and a lot of money. All those light poles that are in the middle of sidewalks, it's OG&E's responsibility. So then the city has to contract with OG&E to move the light pole, and a lot of times there's not a public right-of-way to put the light pole. And we're in Oklahoma, and we've never gotten really smart about putting our grid underground. It's all hanging above, which is really safe for tornadoes. And ice and all the other things we all have problems with. So it takes a lot of money in terms of infrastructure to move those things. But we do have a general obligation bond coming up with the city in 2017. And a general obligation bond, for you guys that don't know, is it's basically a way that investors invest back into the city. So you can purchase, you yourself as an individual can purchase part of the general obligation bond. And that money, once they've been purchased, goes towards certain projects. So Oklahoma City is so on top of our current GEO bond list that we're still working on projects from 1889, that'd be bad, 1989's GEO bond issue. So we still have projects in the pipeline that were approved and paid for in 1989. Half of you guys may have been born. I mean, I know Taylor Swift was, but I don't know about you guys. Did you ask who Taylor Swift was? We'll talk about it later. She's drinking at the Red Cup right now. So the general obligation bond in 2017 will be a great way for us to get some of those projects on the city's dime. So that way, but the catch to that is it could be 2027 or 2037 by the time those projects are done. So we even have set aside in a past GEO bond, I can't remember which year, we have money, maybe $250,000 to update the intersection of 23rd and Blackwelder, which impacts you guys on a daily basis, and 24th and Blackwelder, and 25th and Blackwelder. Do you guys know what's at 24th and 25th and Blackwelder? The campus. It's now closed. It's not a city street. So when the GEO bond passed, it was a city street. We didn't have Minders. We didn't have the school. Half the Bass School of Music wasn't built there. I mean, the only thing that was there was the Wilson House. And that was part of the university campus at the time. The building where admissions was the Oklahoma Annual Conference Center for the United Methodist Church. So that seemed like a great way to improve the streetscape of Blackwell there, was to update those two intersections, but now they're locked into the university. So, which means 23rd and Blackwell there could see some major improvements since they don't have to share that money through 24th and 25th. But we have a lot of questions going on right now with the city, the neighborhoods, and the campus itself of whether we should move that stoplight altogether, move it to McKinley, since McKinley is a straight through shot north through the neighborhood and south through the neighborhood. It doesn't do that jiggity jaggedy thing next to Pirates Alley and all that kind of stuff. So there's just a lot of questions, and once you get to the project, it's kind of like it's so far down the line that so many things have changed in the cityscape that sometimes that money just doesn't make sense. But we have it, and we need to use it. So I still don't know how we're going to use it. I have a meeting on Friday.
Ooh, okay.
I'll let you know how it turns out.
Okay, next question. What specifically have you contributed to 23rd?
I feel like nothing and everything at the same exact time. We started the farmers market last summer, which is kind of one of my big pet projects. Was when I first was hired on, I met with a lot of our stakeholders, a lot of our volunteers, a lot of our neighbors, and said, what would you like to see? And everybody kept saying a farmers market, farmers market. And I was like, oh, it should be no problem, right? Just pull up a few trucks and sell watermelons. No. You have to deal with the city permits, you have to deal with the county health department, you have to deal with the Department of Agriculture, both in the state and the national level. It's kind of a zoo, all the paperwork I have to fill out. But it's coming back this year. We're going to actually do it twice a month instead of once a month. And we hired a farmers market manager, so I tripled my staff this year. That was exciting. I now have a marketing director and a farmers market manager. And so we've done that, raised about $80,000 in funds for the district, which is pretty big considering that we have about an annual operating budget of about $90,000. We've seen continuous growth in our events and our fundraisers, and a constant advocate for our business owners in terms of trying to get projects through at city services and planning and things like that. Our biggest win was at Traffic Commission at the beginning of last month, March maybe. I don't even know what day it is. How do I know what time it was? So sometime in the past month, we went to Traffic Commission and trying to get a mid-block crosswalk light in front of the Tower Theater. So between Hudson and Walker, okay? So it's already kind of built in there. The two medians are separated by about 10, 12 feet. The tower developers designed the sidewalk outside the tower, so it has the little bumpy things for when people in wheelchairs can come off a ramp and they're not speeding at high speeds into traffic, right? And so they did all the right things on their side of the parking lot, but you're literally wheeling into traffic. Like there's no way to signal to traffic that you're crossing. And right now the church that operates next door, they have people that dress in crossing guards uniforms to make sure traffic stops whenever they're walking from the parking lot to Sunday service, and there's all kinds of shenanigans that are happening. And so they went to city services, or a traffic commission, traffic commission, and they were denied 5-4 in February. And so I suited up, took 5 people with me, and we all spoke on behalf of how big of an impact for walkability and for our neighbors, our Heritage Hills neighbors, and the children that go to Wilson Elementary and go to Studio 7 Dance for dance class, how much of an impact this would make for our community. And it passed 3-2. We actually swung a nay to a yay.
Oh, nice.
So small victories can occur, and anyone can go to a city meeting and speak on behalf or against whatever they're for or against. And so I get to see that time and time again in terms of my impact, my individual impact on the city level, but also just for my neighborhood. I think sometimes everybody needs a cheerleader, and they joke that I'm the Pied Piper of Uptown, that if I tell someone that I'm in support of it and I need their help, that most of the time I can, start mobbing deep at meetings and overwhelm the opposition pretty well. So I'm the Pied Piper of Uptown 23rd.
Nice.
Just without the hat. He has a hat, right? The feather in his cap?
Yeah.
I know nothing.
Peter Piper? Okay, next question. What is your favorite thing about 23rd?
Well, I love its diversity. I love that as a district organization, we have members that are Byron's Liquor, we have OCU, we have CSL Plasma, we have 23rd Street Body Piercing and Atomic Lotus. Tish and Jason are amazing. We have Cheevers, one of the best fine dining restaurants in the city. We have, we just have the Asian district smack dab in the middle. So we just have a lot of people and that have a lot of buy-in to the city, and they have a lot of interest in our growth without having very much interest in a turf war. So it's kind of really nice to have everyone on board and everyone working together in a way that makes it all successful for everyone. So that and the Cheevers pecan ball are probably my favorite things about 3rd Street. I just had one for lunch. I mean, I had lunch. I had one for dessert after lunch, and so now that's all I can think of is caramel pecans, ice cream, chocolate. So delicious. I've been on a diet for months, so.
It's okay.
I know.
You deserved it.
Thanks. I think I did. It was my birthday.
Nice.
What? Not today. Sunday.
Still, happy birthday.
Shiny.
Your birthday's April 10th
Yeah.
and April 9th.
Happy belated birthday. Thanks. Yours was the 100th day of the year this year. Mine usually is, but due to leap year, you have the 100th day.
Oh my god.
Happy 100th day.
Didn't even know.
You didn't get to celebrate it, right?
Oh, it definitely celebrated. Okay. As college students, we are excited for things like farmers market. Can we expect more things like this? Okay, you already answered that question.
Oh, I'll answer
Twice
again.
a year, or twice a month.
Twice a month. In October, we'll have 3, so we can celebrate Halloween towards the end of the month. We are, I know a lot of you guys aren't around during the summer, but Father's Day weekend, we're doing a big, like blues, barbecue, booze cruise kind of thing. Booze cruise is not the name of it, but.
Like a wine stroll.
No. Well, it's going to be a car show, and there's going to be blues music and barbecue, and but it's going to be the exact same time as the farmers market, and so we're going to do all of that, and then we're going to do kind of a pub crawl at the end of the night. So we have so many great bars and restaurants in Uptown, so we definitely want to showcase those things. So that's coming. Like I said, I'm a one-woman show, so a lot of the things that happen, have to happen in their own time. But I'm working with business owners right now, and we're really toying with the fact that now that H&8 is now just an annual event, and it's no longer a monthly event, we feel that there's been kind of a vacuum created, and we want to fill that vacuum. So we're trying to figure out how to fill that vacuum. It may involve shutting down 23rd Street once a month.
Alright.
So I'll be calling each and every one of you to show up to the city council meeting when I need assistance, because those types of things have to be approved through city services, and then traffic commission, depending on what type of street closures we do, and then again city council. So hopefully Uptown is about to be awarded a really nice big shiny award from the mayor next month. That's a spoiler, by the way. That has not been publicly announced. Should happen any day now. So when you blog about it later, I'll know it was you.
What's that?
I know, right? Your Zanga page. Okay. I just dated myself there, but yeah. So hopefully, with that award that we're receiving, that will give us a little bit more punch when it comes to requesting a street closure for 23rd Street. 23rd Street's the second busiest thoroughfare behind Northwest Expressway in the city. We see a lot of cars on a daily basis. So it's really hard for them to have the concept of us closing down the street. But we did it for open streets. 60,000 people showed up, so can't be that big of a deal, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Slap some barricades out there, tell them to go around. It'll be fine.
Okay. What should be done to help the crime and homeless?
Well, a lot of our crime problems and our vagrancy issues have kind of resolved themselves throughout the years.
Mhm.
A decade ago, it definitely was not the same 23rd Street as it is now. And a lot of that is because of businesses moving in and opening their doors and the neighbors being more aware. And I mean, you know, if you have more feet on the ground and more, you know, eyeballs looking out windows, there's people less likely to do miscreant type of activities when people are watching, right?
Yeah.
When there's lights being shown in a window, or there looks like there's movement around, people are walking back and forth from their cars, there's less likely to be that type of activity that happens. In terms of our homeless population, we try to work really well with the Homeless Alliance to make sure that all of our neighbors are provided the tools that they need to be safe. We just really want people to be safe and taken care of. We used to have a homeless man named Tommy who lived on our street, and he swept our streets for us. He would buy his own brooms, buy his own dustpans. I'm not even kidding you. He would get on his hands and knees, which I was terrified all the time, and he would sweep the cigarette butts off the street outside 23rd Street body piercing, which just scared the daylights out of me. But the person that owned his building, he came back one day from sweeping our streets, because he's a good human, to find all of his stuff had been thrown away. So the person that owned the building basically evicted a homeless person from their front porch. And we have tried endlessly to, the Big Truck Tacos people wanted to put a little Tommy shed in the back, and like, you know, like a, you know, you can buy them at Lowe's, and they've got the windows and the door, and provide them a safe place to sleep. And I know Tish and Jason at 23rd Street Body Piercing offered to do the exact same thing. And we worked with the Homeless Alliance to try to find him a home, and we just weren't successful because he just wasn't willing to take it. We tried to somehow manipulate him that it was us paying for his services, but he outsmarted us and he knew better, and so he just wouldn't take it. And so we no longer have Tommy's services. And I can tell you, when we cleaned the street before open streets, it was very noticeable that our street is significantly dirtier than it used to be, because we had Tommy sweeping it every single day. So we really try to get to know the humans that are on our street, no matter who they are. And I can only imagine for Tommy, it must have been really overwhelming for me to like pull up my car and be like, Tommy, do you want coffee? I'm sure I'm like the last person a grumpy old homeless man wants to encounter, but I tried my best. But we really try to help create a safe space for everyone, and restore dignity when possible and when available. And so that was something that really, it personally broke my heart, because I knew that no matter how many things that we tried to do, we couldn't give Tommy his ideal situation. So that's just one story, but we really try to, we don't see homelessness as a problem. We see it as a systemic problem, but we don't see it as a, ew, oh my God, homeless people problem. You know, if that makes any sense.
Okay. What do you expect will change on 23rd?
Oh, so much. I sincerely believe once we have the Tower Theater open and the remaining retail spaces that are attached to it open, that's going to be a total game changer for the way our streetscape looks. And we have spaces available, or they've had LTI signed, which means that they're basically a letter to inhabit a space. And so business owners are intending to lease that space from the property owner, basically. So things have been signed, we're just waiting. Level Land Productions they're the group that own and operate the Criterion down in Bricktown, and you know, they just had their kickoff with Ben Rector last month, and they'll have their grand opening in a few weeks. And they are also operating the Tower Theater. So once the Criterion is all settled and good to go, the dust is settled, then they'll be working nonstop on the tower to get that open. So we're looking kind of at the 1st of June to have our first act.
Nice.
I'm really excited.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
It's repeated twice. What's your favorite food?
Pecan ball from Cheever. No. I like any food that you can eat with your hands.
Where's your favorite place to eat on 23rd?
It depends what I'm in the mood for. It depends if it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. The Drake has the best brunch. I eat Pizza 23 for lunch at least twice a week. Cheever's is my special dinner out. Backdoor barbecue if I'm feeling spicy. Big truck tacos any other day of the week.
Okay.
Salad tie every other day. I don't
Okay.
eat out that much, but yeah.
Real last question.
Yeah.
How do current OCU students benefit from the changes of 23rd?
Ooh. The more walkable, the more safe, the more retail that we can bring in, the more services, the more restaurants. It's just going to be highly beneficial to OCU students, faculty, and staff, and it's going to make this school more appealing whenever prospective students and their families come and visit. So as someone who used to work in admissions for 7 years, that's definitely something that I think about on a daily basis, is how is the impact that we're making on the street. When you pull off of 235 when you're coming north from the north or the south and you're coming to visit campus, what does that impact look like now versus what did it look like when I was a little junior in high school and my parents drove me from the farm and said, where are we going again? So I think about that on a daily basis of how when we plant extra pansies in the median, or we clean up a vacant building, or we start construction. You know, construction is always a sign of growth and change. I know people hate it and I know they curse it, but construction's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that means that there's money being spent, that means that there's jobs being made, and that means that there's positive change being made in the environment. So I love it when I see a building with cones and a chain link fence around it, because that means that there's about to be something magical that will be unearthed underneath that pile. So I think any of that will benefit incoming students, but I think for current students, I think the more just activities that we can give you guys to where you can walk or bike to, I think that's great. I tell you, if the plaza had been alive and kicking when I was a student, you know, I would have been there. I would have just been walking there. I'd get out of this class and just walk there. We couldn't do that a decade ago, but that's definitely what I would have done. So we hope to be that. Our long-term goal is to create that space for students and to create kind of that campus corner-like atmosphere for OCU students.
Cool.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Camera rolling.
Yep. There we go. Any questions?
Are we allowed to ask questions? Yes, now's the time. Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
So towards the beginning of the semester, our class, we talked about 23rd Street and how we related to it, and a lot of us didn't really feel super connected to it. But through this class, I feel like we've all grown a little closer to it. I know at least Marina and I have.
That's why we're doing this class.
Right, of course. But how do you
Success. You get an A.
Yeah. How do you think we can bring more of the community into it? Just normal people who don't get to have the opportunity to take this awesome class.
Well, I think that I encounter this all the time. My mother-in-law lives up in a nice ritzy neighborhood on the north side of Oklahoma City, and we go to the country club and we talk to all her nice little ritzy old friends, and they're like, what do you do again? And I have to be like, oh, I'm the executive director of Uptown 23rd. They have no idea what that is. But then I say Cheevers, and they're like, oh, Cheevers, pecan ball. No, I'm the only person. But, so it's definitely something. I mean, our organization's fairly young. We're in our 5th year of being an actual organization of the Uptown 23rd District Association. So I think the more that we do in terms of community organization, so like the farmers market or like our fundraisers or any of our events that we can brand with Uptown, really help with that. And I really think just making it, I mean, I did not know where the Paseo was until I was a senior in college. that might be kind of embarrassing to say, but we were driving to a funeral and we got lost and we're like, what are these buildings? This is oh, it's over. So then we turned around. What is over here? So, I mean, I lived on campus. You know, I lived here for 3.5 years. I'd worked in the city. I worked at Wesley United Methodist Church. I was not far away. And I just did not know that was there because it's so nestled into a neighborhood. So our goal is just to really just kind of slap people in the face with our presence and let them know that we are organized effort. I think that's why we did the identification signs throughout the district, so you know you're in Uptown 23rd whenever you're going down 23rd Street. We currently have over 100 members, so the more that you go to a business and see the Uptown 23rd logo on their door or their window, I think those are going to be the things that keep generating hype. We're never going to be able to compete with a brick town. A brick town they get voted best entertainment district every year because the people from Yukon and Mustang and El Reno and Ada, I know people who drive from Ada to come and hang out at Toby Keith's, you know. They're not going to Spaghetti Warehouse anymore, may you rest in peace, but, you know, so that it's hard to compete with something like that, which is completely known to outsiders. But you would, I mean, the only reason I go to Bricktown are for my Rotary meetings on Mondays at 5:30. I get in, I get out, and I go. And so a lot of us that live in the core, work in the core, we don't visit places like Bricktown. So we've got to figure out how to almost reverse psychology that. Like, how can we get people from Ada to come and visit the Plaza or the Paseo or Uptown on a Friday night? How can we get them to stay in a hotel and come to Cheevers and get a pecan ball, you know?
Gotcha.
Sit at the pump patio, right? Yeah.
Any hot ticket items that are reliant on the upcoming election?
Which election?
Presidential.
Presidential election? Well, our local elections are what matter, in my personal opinion. Not that the presidential one doesn't, but the people that will be elected, you know, we love Jason Dunnington here in House District 88. We definitely support him, and we want him to get his seat again in November. He's a huge cheerleader of ours at the state level. For us, it's historic tax credits. We don't want that to go away because that's a big incentive for people to build and buy, especially along Route 66 on 23rd Street. That is huge for us. That helps support the Tower Theater's renovations. The liquor law changes are going to be impactful on us. We definitely want to see things that encourage local breweries to be able to succeed, have tap rooms be able to sell beer, serve beer. We want to be able to see changes in the law in terms of, you know, blue laws and things like that. So we're really excited about the changes, possible changes in the liquor laws. So that's going to be important because that may be on the presidential ticket in November if that comes out of joint committee at the state level. Really for us, it is the things that impact us. I mean, Planned Parenthood is a member of Uptown 23rd. I'm a huge supporter of Planned Parenthood and the services that they provide women. And so for us, it's keeping our members safe. We want to make sure that, you know, CSL Plasma, Planned Parenthood, that they, a little bit of background about Uptown. We are a 501c4, which means that we are a civic organization that can actually lobby on behalf of our members. So if our restaurants and bars got together and said, you know, we are for this legislation that is being pushed through the state legislative committee right now, we as Uptown 23rd District Association can suit up, put on my Uptown label, and go and literally lobby on behalf of our members.
The definition of lobbying,
Yeah, I can literally do it. People don't like the word lobbying. It makes them feel icky and creepy, but that's literally what I can do. I can literally go and lobby on behalf of our members. And so that in itself changes how we operate as an organization. We've never done it. We've never felt the need to. But definitely, I mean, I guess I do it at the city traffic commission meetings all the time, but it gives us more kind of support and viability in terms of being able to support. Yeah, we may not be able to take your we can't make your donation tax deductible, but we sure as hell can support you at the state capitol. So That changes really how we operate as well. I know in terms of other districts, no other district is a 501c4, so that really gives us a lot of power in terms of, I have Steve Russell calling me on a regular basis. And I always know shit's about to hit the fan because he always calls, his office calls, and they're like, so, do you need anything? I'm like, what do I need? Like, you have nothing to offer me, but what do I need from you? What is about to break? Like, they call me the day before.
What's the cost? What's the catch?
Right, exactly. There's always some kind of issue. So yeah, everything is always dependent on our elections. Our elections are very crucial and important, and we definitely want to make sure that we see change at the state and national levels.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you talked about how you want to improve our intersections
Yeah.
and make Uptown 23rd easier to walk down.
Mm-hmm.
What about other forms of transportation?
Like what?
What are your opinions on, having more bus stops or, stuff like that, increasing transportation?
23rd Street, huh? Yeah, 23rd
There's
Street, we
lots
have a
of
lot of
bus
bus stops. We actually have kind of the most popular route other than downtown routes because you can go late night, you can go all the way from downtown to basically 23rd and MacArthur or Meridian, and it turns back around. So you could basically get on a bus at the Rockford, take a bus to the pump, and take the bus to OCU if you wanted to, and back around. So you could do that. And those buses run between 20 and 30 minutes each turn. So 23rd Street's pretty frequent in terms of our accessibility since we're just a straight shot. Now, going anywhere else from 23rd Street is the issue, unless you're going downtown. So getting to Penn Square Mall, good luck, right? So we are big proponents of Embark. We're always trying to support them in their changes. We definitely, we love public transportation. We joked about what it would look like if we, got a little mini bus and drove it around. We have wild ideas sometimes. So we definitely want to do that. We wish we had better bike infrastructure, but riding bike down 23rd Street is that's suicidal. Like you don't even want to ride your car down 23rd Street. Why would you be on a bike? So we provide infrastructure like bike racks and things like that so people can come from different directions and end up at 23rd Street, but not necessarily drive down 23rd Street. So you're never going to see a bike lane unless it's a protected bike lane, which I've petitioned for many, many times. But this city as a whole is, it's just now starting to realize that people don't always want to drive their cars. I can't even talk to you about the city services. No, it's not city services. Traffic commission meeting where we almost didn't get the light passed because it was like they were arguing that basically people who walk and people who drive their cars are two different breeds of humans and they don't know how to respond to the other. And it's like almost like you're in a car by no choice and your car is just driving you and you have no control over it whatsoever because they're like, will they know when to stop? And we were like, it's a stoplight. Like do you think they're familiar with stoplight? It's going to be red, that means stop. Yellow means whoa. And green means you can go. Like, it's going to be a stoplight. They're going to figure it out. And they're like, I don't know if the pedestrians will wait. It's like, if they have a button that says wait, they're going to wait. They're going to wait. And they're going to walk when the little person says walk. It's amazing. It's magical. It's magical. We all know how to use those things. So, yeah, but other forms of transportation are awesome. And I wish we could make our bus system more reliable and more comfortable. But now they offer free Wi-Fi, which is kind of fun. And it's probably better than OCU's Wi-Fi.
Yep.
True.
My husband used to work in IT here, and so now anytime I see you guys tweet or Facebook about your rage towards OCU's internet, it's just an internal joke. Like, it's just funny to me now. It's probably not funny to you. You guys are all trying to Netflix at 2 p.m., but not my problem.
Do you ever feel like there will be like a, I don't know what they call it, like a BART station in San Francisco? There's like BART, which drives you like all over, like, it's like a train, but it's like $10 and gets you to the city from the East Bay to San Francisco and back.
Oh,
Will there ever be like a easy like train, not like a train, but like a
no,
subway
yeah.
type?
We have the light rail being approved. They're saying that project's possibly going to start in 2018. I mean, that went from a start date of 2015 to 16 to 17 to now 18. So we'll see. And that's going to be mostly downtown though. It may go as north as Midtown, but you know, I don't know if you guys have really studied a lot of the history of Uptown throughout the decades, but you would know that Oklahoma City actually had quite a robust system for light rail and trolley cars. And it wasn't until the drama of the 1940s when the tire companies and the car companies, I start putting on my tinfoil hat now, and got in cahoots and shut down the bus and the trains because people weren't, they were moving people from trains to buses because the buses took tires and you could buy a bus from a car dealership and all of those things. So anyway, that had all to do with manufacturers and money at the time, and so really that's why we saw that as a nation, we saw trains and light rails go down the toilet. It's because of that. Actually, there was a huge legal thing. It went to the Supreme Court, and because they think that there was foul play. But by the time they ruled in favor of the citizens and the trolley companies, like all the trolleys had already been dismounted. It's a big time drama. I don't remember what it was called, but I'm sure you can find it on the internet. And there's actually a documentary about it. It's very interesting. But if we could just go back in time and recreate what we had, it would be beautiful, right? It would be beautiful. I would love it. But I would love that. Anything like their light rail system in Denver, or I think we're about to see a lot of cities like Salt Lake and Minneapolis and a lot of other cities that we would compare ourselves to in terms of size. And they're going to start light rails, and we're going to start to want to be more competitive with them.
If I may, the trains in Salt Lake are amazing.
The trains in Denver are amazing. I ride public transportation wherever and whenever I can. Except for in Oklahoma City. 'Cause the buses are never on time.
These are three members who are interviewing Diane Shaw.
Hi.
So this is Christina, as you know, the executive director of Uptown 23rd.
Yeah. I'm the executive director to no assistant director, so it's kind of funny. It's fine. It's better than being the assistant director to no director, so that'd be sad.
I think. Any other questions?
So I think, so keep it rolling. I think, so she might find it interesting what kind of common topics have come up, right? We've intentionally brought in people with different points of view. You haven't been as diverse a group as we could be, right? I think has everyone been Caucasian so far? Like there's certain similarities.
James. Yeah, James.
Oh, James is here, that's right. I keep thinking like what, you
Must have
know,
been the light.
at one point I really want us to incorporate, I'm working with the Curbside Chronicle and
Perfect.
that community,
Yeah.
and for different reasons we weren't able to connect with them for this process, but we will in the future. So, but there are certain socioeconomic similarities and so forth with our interviewees, and yet you've had different perspectives. So I'm wondering, what's a topic that you remember from one interview that Christina brought up today? Like what's a topic, like what's a common topic?
Sidewalk.
Yeah.
So we
Bike-
make
bike
the city
lanes.
more,
Walkable.
more fluid, communal, whatever,
Yeah.
which would help me. I mean, I live in Yukon.
I'm
So
sorry.
driving over
I'm
here-
sorry I dissed you earlier about your love for Bricktown.
Oh, it's all right. I've lived in Oklahoma 6 months, so I'm learning.
Okay, cool.
As far as me and a commuter,
Yeah.
sometimes me and my wife, we got kids and whatever, so trying to have a night out on Uptown 23rd is a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Mainly, an issue of that is the transportation.
Right.
Trying to find the parking, trying to find what we're gonna do, how do we get there? Oh, there's, so I think that'll have an adjustment, at least for my niche of the demographic.
Yeah. I think for the longest time, Uptown proper has serviced just the neighborhoods, right? So we constantly are in a battle with ourselves in terms of who do we love more? The people who can walk to us or the people who can drive to us? Who do we want to show the most attention to? In terms of strategic planning issues or even program evaluation, you kind of look at the quadrant and most professionals would tell you that the people that love you, all you have to do is remind them that they love you and then you can leave them alone. And then the people that hate you, you leave them alone too because they're a waste of your energy. And it's the people in the middle of the spectrum that you really need to focus a lot of your energy on. But for us, our neighbors have been the ones that have been our constant cheerleaders and our constant supporters. And so it's really hard for us to not want to service them first and then figure out how we can appeal all of those people driving in. Can we make your time in Uptown more convenient? How can you park in one place and get everything done? And that's gonna take a lot of time in terms of infill of businesses and services and things like that. But we have a grand strategic plan, but it's just working to get those things. And when oil is so low, a lot of people, especially here, we depend on their investments to help them invest more money. And so if their investments are low, then they're not investing their money or time into projects. And so we just kind of sit and wait and hope for $50 a barrel. So.
You talked a lot about what's gained
Yeah.
as a result of neighborhood redevelopment. What's something that is lost?
I think neighborhood identity is lost. I think,
What?
was that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
He's been preaching on that subject
Yes.
for a while.
I think neighbor identity is very important, and it's a very delicate balance because you want to be able to grow and revitalize, but you don't want to make it too. Here's my prime example. We have a developer wanting to put in condos at 24th and Ollie, catty corner from Dove Science Academy. So behind O'Reilly's, basically. There's an empty lot where the Hemi's Pizza used to be, so they own that whole lot from 23rd to 24th. They're wanting to put 4 to 6 townhouse condo types of things with the starting price of $600,000.
Isn't it? I
In
don't even
Oklahoma
pay for that
City.
for where it's at. Right behind O'Reilly's.
Right behind an O'Reilly's, first of all. And when you see the person that lives across the street, when I was at the traffic commission, they had to put in an appeal to have an extra street light put because that person is 100% in a wheelchair and they can't safely get out of their wheelchair, out of their car to get to their home because there's no sidewalk and there's no light. There's no street light there. So you have $600,000 townhomes going in across from homes where people have probably lived for 60 years, maybe more, maybe less. And talk to me about not disrupting the neighborhood. I'm really cranky about it, if you cannot tell. And I am excited about development. I'm excited about growth, which sometimes I hate that word. But the idea of, first of all, I don't know who can afford a $600,000 townhome. That to me is just obnoxious, right? Second of all, it pains me to look at the historic homes, the historic bungalows in that area, and not just kind of get a little bit sad when those people are probably going to be priced out of their own home that they live in over time. So that's hard, is growing, but then keeping the community and the neighborhood intact. So we're lucky that we have strong neighborhoods like Heritage Hills, like Mesta Park, like Gatewood. They have their own historic significance and their own bougie ideals, right? So but at the same time, we're working with the ones that are on the north side. So we've got Jefferson Park, we've got the Paseo neighborhood, not the Paseo district, totally two different things. And then we have, what is this called?
University Park.
University Park. It's so small and I always forget. University Park, since it's next to a university, you think I would not forget that. And so you've got these houses are, you know, they're less in value. They're not the ones that people are buying and flipping and reselling for astronomical amounts of money. Those are people that are mostly low income. Those are the young families that are servicing or they're going to our elementary schools. So we want to keep those families. We want to keep that history. We want to keep those people in our neighborhood. So it's a constant balance of how can we make a positive change and improvements without pricing out our current neighbors. And I don't know the answer to it. I read lots of books about it, but I couldn't tell you the answer. My master's is in public administration with an emphasis in city planning, and I can't tell you. I'm sorry. But it takes someone with a personal agenda like myself and a personal passion to make sure that you sure as hell know that I'll be at that city planning meeting whenever those developments try to go and get approved. And I will be there with a former director of HUD and a former project manager of HUD, and we will be there and we'll be like, not in our neighborhood. This is not appropriate. We'll be there. I don't know if we'll be heard. I don't typically throw things. I kind of throw like a girl, but
A verbal slang.
I can throw some slanderous phrases.
Bonnie, did you have a question?
Yeah, are they trying to flip the houses that are right next to the plasma center and right in front of Companies and Joe's? It's like 3 or 4 little townhouse looking homes, but they look totally
Greystones?
trashed. But they look better now.
Yes, the Greystone and then the fourplex, the red brick fourplexes next to them. Yeah, those are currently they're the same owner. He's just finally just renovating them.
Okay.
Yeah. So they didn't change hands, but it's the same owner that's making them actually livable for humans.
So he's just
instead of raccoons and pigeons.
So he's just throwing it to a price that most people can afford, not $600,000.
Yes. So those will be rentals, right? So they'll probably not be as good of craftsmanship, but they'll be a lot like the 1-bedroom units that are at 23rd and Robinson. So the same people that own and that bought the Tower Theater and all those buildings, Joe's Pawn Shop and the Mesta Building, where Pizza 23 and Orange Leaf are, they bought the 3 apartment buildings at the corner of 23rd and Robinson, which is going to be a huge impact because that is literally where I think I saw someone doing heroin for the first time in my life.
Oh,
yeah.
Tell us that story.
What? Someone doing heroin?
Yeah, what was that? How old were you? Where were you?
I was probably 18, 19.
You were a student here?
I was a student here.
Tell us that story.
I may have been a little older. How old do you have to be to get into the Blue Note? Do you have to be 21? I was probably 21. You have to think, I was a little farm girl. I didn't know what was going on. And literally the most scared I've ever been in my life. And I've been to Harlem, so I felt like I've been cultured. Don't talk to me about that. But my little 21-year-old self was really naive. And I just remember coming out of the Blue Note, and we were going to go to Taco Bell because it was late and we were probably drunk. And there were people at that bus stop, and there's actually a homeless man that sleeps on that bus stop that has been gone for a while, and he has recently come back. They were literally injecting, like they were cooking in their little spoon and then injecting it in their arms. And I just remember I probably was really dramatic and a total 21-year-old girl about it. I was also probably inebriated. So I just remember being like, oh my God, they're doing drugs! And I just remember turning back around and just running back to the Blue Note because that was my safe place. The Blue Note was my safe place.
So where were they? Behind the Taco Bell? Or?
No, they were like on the
bus stop?
corner of 23rd and Robinson at that bus stop.
Wow.
Bus stop before you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, people used to, there were bars on the windows of those buildings. They were unoccupied for the longest time. When Ben bought those, he had to strip them down completely to the studs. But people used to, that was like a congregation point for all miscreant activities, was that bus stop at 23rd and Robinson. I like how I just got to recreate that story for you guys. Hadn't thought about that in a long time. But I think about how far we've come, and those are just I never now feel unsafe walking down 23rd Street. It's also my workplace. I'm always there every single day. But I feel like even when I took your little group of baby freshmen and we walked to Western and back, like even then I feel like we would not have been able to do that a decade ago. Or if we did, we probably wouldn't have been as comfortable, I think. But I don't know. I didn't venture out.
Accepted?
Huh?
Maybe it has accepted?
I think comfortable, because I remember my really good friend, Matt Wills, used to live in University Manor across the street, and he's a very athletic human, and so he would go out, and like the only time he could find to train for the marathon was at like 2 in the morning, and he would always come back and be like, well, there was domestic abuse at the corner of Gatewood and 18th, and there were shots fired. And it was like he was his own police radar, because he would come back and tell me the activity and be like, did you have a good run? See you later, bye. So I obviously was not physically active, so I didn't have to worry about. My mom would be like, I hope you're not running at 2 a.m. Mom, you think I'd be running? No. Cute Carol.
You are awesome. I'm looking at that time. It's we still have 7 rich and full minutes left in class. Does anyone have a last question while the camera's rolling? Thank you, my dear, for being here.
I'm really interested what other people said, because I'm nosy.
Yeah.
James Cooper's the man. Yeah.
So am I the
Yeah,
woman?
who was your favorite other interview so far?
I enjoyed our
I
interview.
enjoyed ours, yeah.
Who was that?
We had Jason King.
He's a lot of fun.
He was a lot of fun.
He and his wife have a true passion for 23rd Street. You want to talk about somebody that has is completely committed to just kicking it. They are. I mean, they've been there, 19, 20 years with 23rd Street body piercing. So, yeah, they're super cheerleaders.
What's one interesting or surprising thing Jason said?
He was telling us like why they chose 23rd Street for their location. It was because like before that there was like a vintage shop. There was like a punk rock shop, and it was like one of 2 in Oklahoma. And so like that was kind of like the place to go to like get your punk rock like, t-shirts and like albums and stuff. So he's like, since that was like already like a designated area known for this type of culture, he was like, why not just put my body piercing place here? Like people go there, right next door. Let's do it.
Buy your studded belt and your studs that match your belt.
Exactly.
Right? Do you guys know what punk rock is? Like, are you familiar?
Like, I feel like we have an idea, but we could be completely wrong.
That makes me feel really bathos about life. You should
Austin,
probably.
will you select a very choice YouTube video to illustrate punk rock and bring it to bring it to us on Monday so we can watch it?
It would be my first.
I mean,
Thank
you're already wearing the Doc Martens, so you need to pair that with a pair of Junko jeans. And I may still have some, because I kept them for my non-existent children, and a red flannel shirt with maybe some suspenders and a spiky. You can go to Hot Topic and probably buy all those things. It's probably a costume now. You can go and buy the costume. I went into Hot Topic the other day and it gave me like the sweats. I was like, this is where I used to shop in high school. It's the exact same. It smells the same. They still have the really, really bad vinyl selection. Those are records. I'm not just buying rolls of vinyl.
So if they have a follow-up question, may they email you?
Or tweet me. I respond well to 140 characters or less.
All right. How would they? So what's your handle?
It's at Oaklistina. Yeah. You can find me. Tweet me, beat me. But I have a board member who's really cool, and he always says, hit me on my hip. I'm like, are you like 80? And you have He's like my age, so it's really embarrassing when he says things like that. Hit me on my hip.
I'm so happy to see you.
Is it the weekend yet?
Not quite, but we are nearing it. We're nearing it.
Water.
Let's give her a hand and Wonderful questions.
Yes.
We have now completed 5.